95% of marine life, gone. The ocean, silent. Then evolution filled that void with nightmares. Hammer-shaped skulls, necks longer than entire bodies. The Triassic only gets creepier the deeper you look, starting with a creature that broke every rule. In the aftermath of the ocean's great erasure, the Triassic fossil record becomes a gallery of biological unease. For a brief window, just a few million years, new forms erupted into the void, each one stranger than the last. This wasn't the slow, careful work of evolution as we know it. Instead, the seas turned experimental, spawning animals that seemed engineered for a different planet. Early paleontologists, confronted with these remains, reached for words like nightmarish and mistake. The public reaction echoed that sense of wrongness. Creatures with skulls flattened into hammers or necks stretched to impossible lengths felt less like products of natural selection and more like the results of unchecked chaos. The uncanny quality of these animals isn't just about their looks, it's about the rules they break. For a narrow slice of time, evolutionary logic seemed to unravel, allowing anatomical horror to become ordinary. But what forced the Triassic to become evolution's lawless frontier? To answer that, we have to look at the first of its so-called monsters, an animal whose terrifying jaws were built not to kill, but to graze. Autopodentatus unicus first surfaced from the Triassic gloom in the limestone beds of Luoping, China. Its skeleton sprawled beneath layers of ancient mud. Dr. Xiaochun Wu, leading the team that described the fossil in 2016, was among the first to realize something was deeply wrong with the animal's skull. The head, stretching nearly 30 centimeters wide, looked less like a predator's weapon and more like a splayed hammer, flat, broad, and grotesquely engineered. Early reconstructions mistook its jaws for a zipper, but closer study revealed the true horror. A mouth lined with over 35 chisel-shaped teeth at the front, followed by a dense comb of 140 needle-like teeth stretching along the sides. This was not a killing machine, but a vegetarian vacuum. Autopodentatus raked algae from the sea floor, then strained the water through its bizarre dental mesh, filtering microscopic life with each slow sweep. Its jaws could open to a 30-degree gape, enough to dredge broad swaths of sediment. In a world where predators should have ruled, here was an animal that looked like a monster, but fed like a cow. The laws of Triassic evolution had twisted into something unrecognizable, and Autopodentatus was only the beginning. Tanystropheus stands as the Triassic's most improbable predator, a 6-meter reptile with a neck that stretched 3 meters, yet contained just 13 vertebrae. Each vertebra was a rod, reinforced by parallel ribs that locked the neck into a rigid spear. For decades, paleontologists debated whether this animal crept along shorelines or drifted in the shallows, its anatomy too strange to fit any familiar mold. The puzzle deepened with the discovery of well-preserved skulls, jaws armed with needle-like fangs, orbits set high on a triangular snout, and nostrils perched atop the head like a crocodile's, hinting at a life spent lurking beneath the surface. But it took the arrival of high-resolution CT scans in 2020, led by Dr. Stefan Speakman and his team, to finally reveal the truth. The scans exposed dense aquatic bone structure and a neck too stiff for terrestrial use, but perfectly suited for sudden, sideways lunges. Stomach contents, fish scales, and squid hooks confirmed a diet of swift, slippery prey. In this pole-necked assassin, the Triassic's lawless frontier produced not a slow-moving oddity, but a hyper-specialized ambush hunter, its body plan a calculated gamble in a world where evolutionary logic had come unmoored. Triassic seas were not just strange, they were feverish, stripped of order, and wide open to invention. After the Permian collapse, ocean temperatures surged above 30 degrees Celsius, hotter than any modern tropical reef. The water itself was chemically hostile, with acidification and low oxygen pressing life to its limits. The familiar scaffolding of marine life, coral reefs, layered food webs, sheltering bioturbators, had vanished. In their place, only barren mud and the occasional algal bloom interrupted the emptiness. With so few survivors, competition all but disappeared. This left a blank canvas, a world where evolutionary rules were suspended and survival belonged to the bold experiments. In this lawless frontier, animals like Atopodontatus and Tanystropheus were not outliers. They were success stories. The absence of reefs meant no architectural boundaries, so body plans stretched and warped into forms that would have been impossible in a crowded ecosystem. The phenomenon of cervicalization, where neck vertebrae multiplied and elongated, let predators reach further than ever before. Developmental flexibility, usually held in check by stable environments, ran wild. The result was a gallery of anatomical horror: hammer-headed grazers, pole-necked hunters, and jaw mechanisms that defied expectation. These creatures thrived in a world where the only constant was change, and the only rule was to exploit whatever niche remained. But such freedom came at a cost. The very conditions that allowed monsters to flourish would soon set the stage for another round of catastrophic pruning. A reminder that evolutionary chaos is always temporary, and that even the most outlandish survivors are only ever one environmental shift away from extinction. At the close of the Triassic, the ocean's anarchic laboratory was swept clean. Around 201 million years ago, the Central Atlantic magmatic province split the supercontinent with a volcanic onslaught, spewing enough lava to coat the planet in fire and haze. Dr. Liu's isotope curve, drawn from the teeth of marine reptiles, traces a sharp drop, carbon signatures plunging as the seas absorbed a surge of volcanic carbon dioxide. Ocean pH fell by about 0.3, acidifying waters that were already stressed to the edge. In this chemical storm, the rules of survival changed overnight. The wild anatomies that once ruled, the hammer-headed grazers, the pole-necked hunters, became evolutionary dead ends. Fossil counts show that nearly 70% of marine families vanished in the extinction wave. Only the streamlined, the adaptable, the ordinary, slipped through the bottleneck. The rest, those monsters built for a world of chaos, were pruned away, leaving behind only whispers in stone. The Triassic's gallery of nightmares was over, not by failure, but by the world shifting beneath their feet. Evolution built monsters for a lawless frontier, life sculpted by chaos, not accident. Their anatomical horror is a warning. In unstable worlds, only the uncanny survive. If you want to keep exploring the giants we forgot, hit subscribe and join the expedition.